When I was a high-end
Okay.
home builder, people hired me as a general contractor because I had already pre-vetted the professionals who were going to be building their homes. And what I think makes a really powerful offering for anybody in business is to think about who your clients will need next. I'm going to take care of you with this thing that you've hired me to do, but the next person that you're going to need, I already have an introduction that it creates a really unique value offering. We call that the Upstream Model.
Hey, everybody, it's Patrick Merrill selling the beautiful coast from the Mississippi, Louisiana line to the Florida Keys. We got you covered. Welcome to a new episode of Lift It. And Justin, I'm very excited about this because I try not to look into too much of what people do until this is kind of like the first time I've talked to you about anything, but I did, of course, look at your Facebook. So, and I'm very interested because a lot of things that you do and a lot of things that you help people with is kind of what I'm trying to turn my older years business around to where I'm less kind of on the computer in the background and not climbing 3 flights of steps to show a house type situation. I want to stay in the business one way or the other. And, age is slowing me up, but I'm fighting it. I'm still working on it. So if you can give us an idea, maybe introduce yourself and tell us a little
Yeah,
bit about what we're going to talk about.
that sounds great. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And I've
Thank
heard
you.
such lovely things about your part of the world, by the way.
No,
Uh,
well, have you not been down this way to the coast?
I have not. I'm on the West Coast in
Oh,
Oregon, where it's also beautiful, but not quite as warm as what you guys enjoy. And
true.
our beaches are beaches where you wear a hoodie. They're not beaches where you go
No.
sunbathe.
Year
So
round?
pretty much, yeah. I mean, we're right on the
Wow,
Pacific
okay.
Ocean, which is, the water is 50 degrees and the air tries to fight above that, and occasionally it does. But yeah, it's not known for its sunbathing unless you're a little crazy.
It's it's beautiful out that way for sure. Y'all have a lot of beautiful just I used to drive to Vegas like twice a year, and now I fly out once a year, but it's just so amazing how difference 30 miles will make in
That's so true.
scenery. I mean, it's just like you can't see this from the plane, darn it, and you don't get to meet the people. Well, welcome. You have to come down here and check us out one day. I think you would like it.
Absolutely.
Even like maybe book up, like 2 or 3 days in Louisiana, come to Biloxi, hang out in the casinos, and we could flip you down to Alabama or even over to Florida.
It all sounds
You'd love it.
great. It
You'd
sounds
love it
lovely.
here.
Well, hey, I'm excited to talk about something that I've been passionate about since I was a home builder. I was a luxury home builder for about 8 years. And in that process, I learned something really interesting that I think is of great benefit to the real estate industry, which is building key what I call upstream partnerships. And what oftentimes most real estate agents do, and is that the primary audience we're talking to today? It's really to agents, or is it more to the people who
Mhm.
live in
Yeah,
your community?
it's more to the people, and I like to give
Okay.
people options.
Yeah,
Not just, this is all we got to offer. And I always try to find different ways to make it work. Cause it's like, and I like working with people, meeting people from all over. So a lot of times I will get people, but we can't make them, we don't have what you want. So a lot of times they may go, well, we're looking over in South Carolina as well,
mhm, okay,
type situation. We get a lot of that because a lot of people like to come here and even consider a second home, a third home.
yeah,
And
yeah.
almost anywhere that's got water, a lot of places are like that now.
So here's what I'll tell you. Since the majority of your listeners are the residents, right, the homeowners
Mhm. Yeah.
of your local communities and areas you serve, I'll really kind of cater my message to that. So when I was a high end
Okay.
home builder, people hired me as a general contractor because I had already pre-vetted the professionals who were going to be building their homes, right? The foundation company,
Gotcha.
the excavator, right? The framer, the painter, the roofer. Like I had my guys. I was hired because I already had done that work, right? And what I think makes a really powerful offering for anybody in business is to think about who your clients will need next, right? Like who are the other professionals that they're going to need and actually build a network with those people. Because there's nothing that is more endearing to a client to say, "Hey, not only am I going to take care of you with this thing that you've hired me to do, but the next person that you're going to need, I already have an introduction that you should at least talk to on the next thing that you're going to need. And so what it does is it makes the value proposition of a real estate agent or a lender or financial advisor, when you have a team of people around you who serve
Mhm.
like you do, it creates a really unique value offering, right? And so I'm thrilled to talk about that and how that serves the homeowner. And obviously, you, Patrick, kind of working by referral for as long as you have, serving professionals in the industry,
Mhm.
you know this, right? You get people asking you all the
Yes.
time, right?
Yeah.
And so when I was a home builder, I realized that was the case. That people needed great professionals beyond just me. And so when I left the home building industry in 2008, those who were in the building industry at that time probably know why I chose that time to leave at that time, right? There was, massive credit fallout, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I realized my passion was not building homes, it was really building businesses. And I'd learned in my home building business a unique way to do that, which is identifying key partners. In other words, building that network of professionals around me that they could feed me great clients and I could feed the next person great clients, right? To where I started to grow the majority of my business by professional referral. In other words, my clients were coming from other professionals. And the
Okay.
professionals were really excited about that for a number of reasons, because my clients knew that the people who I was introducing them to were not just responsible for them, right?
Right.
They were like, there wasn't just an obligation to serve the client well, there was an obligation to serve my referral well.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
And
Definitely.
so,
And that's
and
what we
so,
all want. When somebody sends me something, I'm gonna do my best to make
yeah,
sure they're taken care of. Because I
right.
want them to keep sending them
Totally,
to me. I mean,
totally.
yeah.
And so what I, yeah, go ahead, Patrick.
Well, I just curiosity before we get too far. So, in a lot of this, I'm sitting here thinking in my head, I have a lot of those people already that I'm connected with. So like if somebody says, a home improvement person, or do you have a little contractor that can do this? Most of us have a pretty good. I mean, I've been doing this for 16 years, and a lot of the people that I started with, like my home inspectors, electricians, all of them are still in the business. So most of us pretty much have a portfolio. I guess you would say, I don't know what you call it, a business book of business, I guess we could say, for the referrals. And a lot of us have it already, kind of, maybe.
What I because of that additional accountability, where you, again, the professionals not just being accountable to the client that they're serving, but to the referral professional, or to the professional who referred them, that professional ends up giving priority service to that client. And so that's what homeowners want, right? They want somebody like, I believe that homeowners don't want 10 different options. They don't want
No.
10
Mm-mm.
people running at them, all trying to get their business. To me, that's hassle, right?
Oh,
That's
totally.
that's like a headache, right? You're trying to decipher which ones. What I
Hmm.
want to do is go to somebody highly respected like you, Patrick, and say, Patrick, do you have a painter? You say, I do have a painter. Great. And I talk to that painter and I say, hey, Patrick referred me to you. So now that painter knows I'm a client and I better take good care of you because Patrick sent me to you, right? That's what
Hmm.
homeowners want. And
Correct.
so what I kind of laid out in my book, The Upstream Model, which is everybody is served better when it works that way, right? When professionals refer other professionals. In fact, I'll tell you an example. Just about 2 weeks ago, I walk out into my garage. It's early in the morning, and I'm stepping into an early meeting. And my wife has to get kids to school. So I pop the garage, and the garage door opens halfway, stops, and goes back down. I'm like, that's weird. Push it again. Up, stops, and I'm like, okay, I've seen it go the other way, right? Where the garage door comes down and something's in the way and it comes like that, but I've never seen this. And so I tell my wife, like, I would love to help you right now, but I'm stepping into a meeting. Just so you know, it looks like the car is stuck in the garage. And I'd even done the little like emergency release thing. It's not coming. So I
No.
was like,
Wow.
so she's over there, like, like Googling, like, why is my garage door doing this? Well, before I step in a meeting, she says, hey, do you have anybody that I should contact? Right. And my my commenters, we're just building out the homeowner
Mhm.
concierge, which I'll talk about here in a minute. Here in our area, I don't have a good garage door guy. So she's like, whatever, I'll Google it. And I'm like, geez, like, okay, great, right? Do what you got to do. Kind of fingers crossed that works out well. Because we all know that people that are ranked oftentimes are there because number one, they've paid for that placement, right? Or number two, they've figured out how to game the reviews, right? Where they've just put a complete focus on reviews. Now, that doesn't mean that reviews aren't important, the reviews aren't great, but it doesn't necessarily mean that those are the best professionals in town.
True.
The very best professionals are the ones who, if you ask the professionals who have worked alongside them and referred them and put their name on that person, they'll tell you who the good ones are, right?
And that makes a difference. Totally.
Makes a big difference.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so what we came to, back to my garage door, sorry. So my wife, after my meeting, I step out. There's a garage door guy that's there meeting with my wife. Bit of a language barrier. Nothing against that, right? But I'm trying really hard to understand. And he sells us something, right? And we come out afterwards. He's gone. He's left his parts there for us to throw away. That was kind of weird. And we look up at the garage door, the big bar that goes across, and there's one spring, whereas before there were two springs. My wife's like, aren't there supposed to be two springs? And I'm like, there were. I can see from the part he left on the ground, there were two springs, And so she tries calling him. The guy's not returning her call. It takes several days for him to call back. He's like, well, yeah, it didn't need two. It only needed one. In other words, right, I'm selling you half the product. It's going to fail in half the time. But, whatever. I'm on to the next client. And I thought to myself, isn't that par for the course? Isn't that what happens when we just find people online? The only accountability, right, is that little review system. And because they've figured out how to get so many positive, they can bear any ones that aren't negative. And we're not the type to go in and bash somebody, right? But it was like a meh experience, right?
Right.
Whereas had I been recommended by my real estate agent, right, to say, hey, who should I use for garage doors? Looking back, that's what I should have done, right? She would have given me a garage door company. Guess what? That garage door company would have been responsive. They would have, not only been responsive, but they would have done it right. And they would have taken our call immediately when we call them back, because it's not just me and my wife anymore who they're responsible to. They're responsible to my real estate agent who's feeding them business all the time. Right?
Right. Yeah.
So my point is that everybody wins when great real estate agents like you, Patrick, which is, I know what you've built, are these great professionals around you that you can regularly refer to your clients. We call that the Upstream Model, because what that means is that not only are you referring these other professionals, but there are other professionals who are situated upstream from experience, and they're going to refer you, right? When professionals refer professionals, everybody wins. And so
I totally agree.
And so that's the essence of the Upstream Model, is that you've got professionals who are referring professionals, so that you don't have to spend money on paid advertising and go to, and Angie's List, where you're competing with 5 other people, paying 20 to 30% of your top line margin to get a deal, just to cut your margins because it's so competitive, and then give shoddy service because that's all you have, margin for. So,
well, it's scary, right? I mean, there's so many scams.
Yeah.
So many things going on. And I'm glad you said that, because I always try to mention, like if I'm sending somebody out to look at a property for one of my buyers or sellers, to get an idea, I usually always make sure I check back with the seller and the person that they met with. That way, just to make sure everything went good and there was no issues with anything.
Yeah. Great professionals like you are the ones that people not only want to use, but want to ask for recommendations on who else they should use. Like, let me ask you a question, Patrick. How often do you get your clients asking you for a recommendation on a professional?
10 times a day. I mean, it's constantly. Seriously. They're always.
Yeah,
Everybody
amazing.
needs some. I need a plumber. I need a fire. I use like the police and the firemen and things like that, because most of all of them have a second business. And to me, it kind of helps the community as well. Because you've got some that are electricians. I got one that cuts the yard. We have a car detailer. And it kind of helps put money back in the community. So I try to use a lot of people in the area to do most of the things when people ask me. Because like a lot of times I'll have people, look, I need my lawnmower broke. I just need somebody to come cut my yard. Okay. I got a policeman. He'll be over there when he gets off duty and cut it for you. And a lot so it's kind when you and like I said, and a lot of these people I've known my whole life, so a
Mhm.
lot of that is and everybody will know, well, Patrick uses, Ryan for his lawn service, so I think I'll you know what I'm saying? I'll use them too, and these people will be forever here, so
Well,
it makes a
that's the
difference.
essence. It does make a difference for everybody involved, right? The professionals, when they're not spending a bunch of money on advertising. And really, Google isn't in the home services business. They're not in the real estate business.
Oh,
Neither
no.
is, you might say, Zillow is somewhat, right? But these companies are lead aggregators, right? They're in the leads business, and they want to take as much margin from the professionals as possible, so long as they don't put them out of business, so that they can continue to pay for that marketing, right? But because they're taking so much margin, there's not enough for the professional to really do a great job to serve the homeowners, right? And the only one it's kind of like you've probably heard this said before, when there's heavy litigation in life, like between attorneys, the only one that wins are the attorneys, right?
Right. Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
and in the lead business, in the internet lead business, the only people that win are the big lead platforms, right? The professionals suffer, the homeowners suffer. So I'm a very much a proponent of professionals. In fact, I've now built a technology platform called Pro Insight, which is the creator of the Homeowner Concierge, where we identify 70 different professional categories, everything from painter, plumber, roofer, tax professional, estate attorney, real estate agent, et cetera. And we list them in a local community. And then we have each of those professionals give that resource to their homeowner clients. So now each of the professionals
Smart.
who are listed there exclusively are in a spot where they are getting distribution not just to their clients with this list, but every other professional is giving this to their clients. So now we have this broad exposure of homeowners actually having who the real good ones in town are, right? Not the ones
Mhm.
that are just paying for ads. So anyway, that's what we built out now because we feel so strongly that this is the future of great service for homeowners, and also what serves the professionals so that they can, their margins are kept intact enough to where they can offer that remarkable raving fan type service.
I like that. And I never really I didn't look at I never op you opened my eyes to that because I never looked at it that way. I never really thought about it. I mean, when I got into real estate, I always knew it was like a referral-based business, so it's important to keep that. But I never even thought about, like how you said that, having, because it's like when I use that person, it must be a good person, so if I'm giving it to somebody, they're a good person. I never thought about it like that. I plug everybody in my phone, and it's like, I mean, I don't know how many people I got in there, but it can be stressful when people don't know, and especially when we're dealing with new buyers and first time sellers even. There's a lot of things that need to be answered. And
Yeah,
like you said, your
yeah,
reputation's everything. I mean, you, the person, is everything. You are your product that
totally.
you're
In a service
selling.
based business, that's exactly right. You are the product.
Mhm. Yeah. And how long have you been doing this?
I
16
mean,
years, 20?
well, yeah. I mean, I had my home building business. It started in, see, I went to work in the industry in 2002. And yeah, so that's when I started to uncover these principles and brought those to the real estate industry, then authored a book on it. And then I began teaching professionals from different industries, realizing that the path forward for great service and great professionals is not through these big lead platforms. The way forward is by professionals referring other professionals. And so that's become kind of a career mission for me now, is to really
Nice.
help this become really widespread, that this is how homeowners know who the best professionals in a local community really are, and help them to actually get the priority service, right?
And okay. Do you have a specific website where we could go? Like, I know
Yeah.
probably just in your I have people that call me from out of state and say, "I know this is crazy, but do you have anybody that can help me purchase my home here?" They're like, "I know you know people from all over," which is, and I'll call around and reach out with other agents, if they're in Louisiana or Texas or wherever they want to be, because we can help people get a house anywhere, and we all work all over. And usually, like you said, that would like if somebody was looking for something in Louisiana, I'm not licensed in Louisiana, but I can find a agent that will be happy to help you, and I'll go and make sure they have really good reviews and, talk to them and kind of go from there.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think having that kind of book of business is very good. And to keep that book of business going, you still would want to reach out to that buyer, even though they're buying in Louisiana, Texas. You want to make sure their whole experience from start to finish with that other agent was good. And now that's a person I can keep kind of at the top of my list for a Louisiana salesperson because of the great reviews they're getting from the buyer that went over there.
Yeah, it's really well said. Yeah, I mean, proinsight.com is our website, and that's really where professionals go to look at if we've started a homeowner concierge in their community. You can actually schedule time with us, and we typically start with the real estate agents because they have the best professional network, right? They're already referring a
Mhm.
large number of people. So, we evaluate kind of what that real estate agent's business looks like, see if they're the right fit for us to really kind of build the homeowner concierge out around, around kind of their network. And we help them do it. We help them build it out. And our aim is really to have 40 professionals in the first 6 months who are a part of the homeowner concierge. Again, one per category, one real estate agent, one of every type.
Okay.
And then what our tool is actually designed to do again is to be it's an app that the homeowners themselves access so that the homeowners have direct access to this list. So our app is
Okay.
really designed to be a consumer app that the professionals pay to be a part of. So it's free to the homeowner, but it goes into the hands of the homeowner. So they've got the full list of preferred vetted professionals right there, right in front of them to where they can access them directly.
So say if I started that, so if I came to your site and I put on there, say Mobile, Alabama, and I'm starting to search and nobody's there. How could I reach out to you and say, Justin, look, you know, help me start a Alabama. Can I go to your page and type in Alabama? And would that pull up like I'm looking for somebody in Alabama? Do you have anybody
I'm going to pull it
on
up
the
right now.
website?
We
Okay.
actually just chose an agent in Wilmington, North Carolina this morning. There's a number of criteria that we look for. So for those of you that are real estate agents, there's kind of a production requirement, and then tenure in the business, kind of reputation, and your interest in growing by referral, right? So I'm going to go to Mobile, Alabama. Let's see.
No, can they go to your site and, like, put that in there and say, "Look, I'm here in Texas, Denton, Texas. I'd love to be able to work. How can I get started with you, Justin?"
Yeah, you wouldn't do that from our site, but we could easily do that search for you.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't have anybody selected in mobile, for example. So yeah, on our site, there's an opportunity to just schedule time with us. It's a simple conversation to say, okay, what
Okay.
are you trying to accomplish? And then at that point, kind of we make an evaluation and see if there's availability in that county, that area. If there is, then we invite that professional to be on, assuming they kind of meet the requirements. If they do, then we work together to build that out around them. So
That's good. Like I said, I'm licensed in Mississippi and Alabama. In Florida, I'm looking for a broker right now in Florida, though. But, I spend a lot of time in Florida. I mean, I'm 2 hours from where I go hang out at the beach. So I set up
yeah,
my RV down there, which I call my beach house, and I set it up for 4 or
yeah,
5 months out of the year because my goal is to stay in Florida longer the older I get and to be able to go. But I mean, I'd love to just be open, do open houses because that's a big thing at the beach in Florida. I mean, everywhere open
yeah.
houses.
Oh, I
So
bet.
I can go do that, once or twice a month because I don't want to retire. I feel like when you retire, you rust. It's
Mhm.
important to stay active. And I think for your mental state, staying active, being around people, not shut inside, makes a
Yeah,
big
good for you.
difference. It
Good
really
for you.
does. And my girl in Alabama, I'm gonna get with her and we'll reach out and set a time with you as
That sounds
well. I
great.
mean, she's a little go-getter. I'm telling you what, she's going crazy over there. I'm so proud of her. She's been broker probably about 2.5, 3 years now. And I mean, she's doing really good, and I think she could do good with us for us in the Alabama area because she's
I'd
very
love to meet her.
good. Yeah,
I'd love to
I'll
meet her.
set that up because, like I say, she's in Disney this week. So, but next week I'm gonna have her reach out and we
Cool.
can set that up because that would
Well, if
be
she's anything like you, I'd love to meet her. You've just been kind and,
she.
just a great.
If you could you give her about 100 more ounces of energy, and that's what you got. She is a go, go, go.
I
You
like
know,
it. I like it. Sounds fun.
I like what you're saying, and I think it's good for people to have a place to go to look for, because like I'm sure, hey, I need a plumber. Justin, who do I call?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I always try to give it at least 2 or 3 different ones, to pick from. And a lot of times they'll ask me, they say, "Well, who's this?" Like, "Well, look, this guy is 16 years since I've been doing real estate. He's done home inspections, this guy for 12 years, he's been replacing roofs and he's very, he's got a good team." So you get a profile and you get the people, it's good to be able to share them. I
yeah,
think,
for sure.
because it helps them. I like to see everybody grow. I mean, I don't need it all. I don't. I just want a piece of it.
Yeah,
I
sure.
just want enough to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
like I say, I mean, I think there's enough of business for everybody to be happy and everybody to work together. And that's a big thing. You get that, where it's just and it's automatic, it's like, hey, I need a plumber for my house, boom. I've already made the call or sent a text, and it's so laid back here. It's kind of like, yeah, I'll just leave the front door open. Go ahead. And
I
things
love it.
like that, and
Yeah.
it's like, I'll have people come by, it's like, that everybody knows where I live, so it's kinda like, I'll have my buyers come by. I had one buyer pull up, and I had told them, "Do not do anything." They pulled up on a Saturday afternoon in a brand new car. "Hey,
Yeah.
Pat, come look at my hat and my new car." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no."
No,
They're
you
like,
did
"What?" I
not.
said, "Take it back." They're like, "What?" I said, "You close next Wednesday. You can't do that." I mean, I was freaking out. I mean, I love the car, so that was great, but still, you don't do that right before you close it on the house.
You're
Luckily,
jeopardizing
the
it all.
car note was lower than the car note they were already paying, so actually that helped their debt to ratio, but I would not ever, ever don't change nothing until you're done with the
Don't
closing.
don't sneeze. Don't sneeze. Just
No!
everybody hold their breath. Just a
Oh
week, you'll be
my
fine.
Yeah, I called the underwriter that Saturday night, and, she was like, "Holy shit, what you
What are
mean?"
you what are you doing? What are you
That was
doing?
a very interesting weekend, but yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I like what you're doing, and like I said, a lot of us, we have such a book of business, and we want our business to keep growing, and a lot of times, like I tell people, sometimes my time is better spent on the computer and trying to put people where they need to be and at the right place versus out there constantly, because I have some agents that would rather just show houses and don't want to deal with the paperwork. And I'm good with that. A lot of times I may even ride along with the agent, just to see how not everybody talks to each other the same. You know what I'm saying? Some people come up, they just you gotta have that vibe. I feel like, and it's hard. Some people can't just go up and meet people like that, and it takes a little bit to get them out of that shell to walk in and meet somebody. And like I said, are you going to show a house? They're like, yeah, it's showing time. I said, no, it's showtime. They're like, what do you mean? I said, come on, you know, think about what you're doing and think about how are you going to present yourself when you talk to people. And a lot of people's like, okay. And some people can't. I mean, some people would rather just text you sitting in front of you instead of talking to you. It's like, put that phone down. I don't like answering my phone when I have people around me and most of them know, "Look, this is how you make your business." I said, yeah, but I'm not taking away from you to answer that right now at the moment. I can call them back or I'll send them a text in a meeting. I'll call you right back. I think being comfortable makes a big difference with people and knowing that, like I've been doing it for 15, 16 years. So, like you said, if somebody calls and asks, I know this person's been around the block a time or two. So they're going to shoot straight on it.
Yeah. Hey, this has been such a fun conversation,
It
Patrick. Thank
has
you.
been. Our 30 minutes just flew by. They
I
get on to
know.
me all the time because I spend too much time talking.
Well, I
But
didn't yeah, I didn't
well,
think that at
look,
all.
tell everybody where we can get all your book. Your book, is it on Amazon or
Yep, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it on Audible if you prefer that. And if you want a free copy of the electronic and the audio version, you can actually go to builtonreferrals.com. Take a little what I call the referral score. It'll give you a grade on your referral business, and then I'll send you a copy of the book. You'll get access to both the audio as well as the digital. So again,
Nice.
builtonreferrals.com is a place where I'll give you a free copy of the book. So
Sweet. I'm gonna go do it. And then I'll have when they post this out on YouTube and all, they'll get all the information. It'll plug it in for you as well. So perfect. Hey, I love it. Maybe if you come down this way in the next year or two, we'll be glad to
That
show you
sounds
around. You'd
that sounds
love it.
amazing, Patrick. That sounds amazing.
You'd love it.
I got a friend down there now, so I
You do.
appreciate it. Thank you so
Hey,
much.
you got a referral. Hey, if you know somebody looking for a house, hey, now you know who to call.
Absolutely
Boom.
do.
Just
Patrick,
made
what a
that
pleasure.
connection. Thank you, Justin. Have a great day.
Thank you
Talk
too.
to you
Take care, my
soon.
friend. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank y'all again for taking the time to come along my venture with me. I am Patrick Merrill, and I hope you have been lifted. If not, let me know. We'll figure out a way. There's always a way. Thank y'all again for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends. Y'all have a great day.